Hello friends, Koolio here, and welcome back to the channel. Today guys, I want to bring you a beginner's guide video. Specifically, I want to bring you guys what I think is a really great deck build for brand new players to the game. Now, if you guys are enjoying these ONMYOJI, the card game videos, because I've been really enjoying this game, I've put in a lot of hours already into it, then I would really appreciate it if you guys would hit the subscribe button, as well as hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Now, before we get in and talk about the deck build that I've got, I do want to talk about the newest event in the game. They just updated the servers like just a couple of minutes ago, but they have a new login event called Gift from the Sea Kingdom. Now, this login event, all you have to do is just log in for the next 7 days, and you'll be able to claim Slice Up the Sea card packs completely for free. And then on the final day, you'll be able to get the Utakamaru limited animated avatar frame. I'm a big fan of like events and stuff that give you like free cosmetics, and so I'm definitely going to be logging in every single day so I can get the Utakamaru limited animated avatar frame, because Utakamaru I think is one of the coolest looking Shikigami in the game. Now, the deck build that I want to talk to you guys about is actually based on one of the best meta deck builds from the first season of the game. However, it's still a really viable deck build specifically for brand new players. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I went ahead and made this deck. This is called my Aggro deck. Now, if you guys have never played card games before, an Aggro deck is basically just an aggressive, fast attacking type of deck. You're focused on just eliminating the opponent's health points as fast as possible. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I chose this deck. One, it's a really simple deck to understand, a really simple concept, because the game has a lot of Shikigamis in it, and all of them have their own unique different styles and gameplay mechanics, and within a couple of weeks, we're going to get another update, adding in another like 6 to 8 Shikigami with their own gameplay and style. And so, there's a lot of confusing mechanics that can go into this game, but the build that I'm going to show you is actually one that I feel like is very flexible. It's also very easy to get if you're a free-to-play player, and if you don't mind spending a little bit of money, you can actually get an alternative version of this deck. So before we actually go in and I share you guys the cards and stuff that I have currently set up, let me go ahead and show you what I mean by, like, if you want to spend a little bit of cash and stuff, you'll be able to unlock this deck. Now, if you're willing to spend at least $1, in the Jade Shop, they do have a special pack for like 30 of the premium currency in the game that you can get the Yoto Hime card set. If you get that, it's a really great card set to start building this aggro deck. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you want to spend maybe a couple of more dollars, there's a pre-built deck called the Blitz deck, which this one is sort of built on top of that. And so if you don't want to have to worry about, you know, collecting the cards or being patient and just collecting them through the classic packs, you can go ahead and just buy this one, and it gives you a pretty decent setup for an aggro deck, which this one is, the one that I'm going to share with you, is one that I feel like is very, very easy for free-to-play players to unlock. There is, however, one card in this deck that may take a little bit of time for people to get, but I do have it set up in a way that if you don't have all of these Shikigamis or don't have enough of each of their cards and stuff, there are other characters, other Shikigami that you can replace into it. So the main 4 Shikigami that I have for this deck are Hakuro, Huoka, and then we've got, I can't remember all of their names, so you have to forgive me, Yamawaro, I don't know if I'm saying any of these names right, and then Yoto Hime. Now, there are 2 other Shikigami that I think are really great ones if you kind of want to swap in and out. The first one is going to be Inugami. He's another really great fast attack, strong, offensive type of aggro-based character. And the other one is one that comes within the pre-built deck, which is going to be Utengu. Utengu is another really great card that deals a lot of spell damage. So let's go ahead and actually talk about the cards I currently have set up within my deck as of right now, and then we'll jump in and do some gameplay videos. Now, Hakuro, the main reason why I have her in my deck is she has a consistent ability to deal damage directly to your opponent. So, when Hakuro deals attack damage to an opponent Shikigami during your turn, deal 2 damage to the opponent player. She is a really great card to consistently deal damage to your opponent's health point and slowly chip them away. Now, if you want some of my recommendations on combos to use, I recommend using Zanshin first before you go and drop any of these cards right here. Sharp Shot, Perfect Shot, or Haner. The main reason why is a lot of these, specifically Sharp Shot and Haner, the abilities are removed after the next attack. But if you have Zanshin equipped onto her, these effects will not be removed, specifically Sharp Shot, because you can attack your enemies in the combat zone from range, meaning that she won't take any damage, and you can consistently deal damage to the enemy Shikigami without having to worry about her dying, as well as deal consistent damage to the enemy opponent's player's life points. Now, I did talk about how the build that I'm going for is fairly free-to-play friendly. I don't have any legendary cards in this deck that cost me money to get. There is one, however, that I did get lucky that I will let you guys know, but there are other cards that you can replace within that specific Shikigamis. But a lot of these are going to be just your basic rares and some of your purples and stuff like that, so do keep that in mind. Now, the next one I want to talk about is Huoka. Huoka is an amazing Shikigami to have on your team to consistently deal damage to the opponent, as well as take out, you know, fairly strong Shikigami that other players may be using, specifically using Phoenix Flame. Now, I did talk about how I do have one legendary card in this deck, and that is the Swaying Blaze card. This card, hands down, is one of the best cards in the game. And so, if you want my recommendation on a card that you want to kind of save up and craft, I would recommend the Swaying Blaze. It just has saved me so many times. But again, if you don't have it, that's okay. There are other great cards, such as the Phoenix Flame cards, the Immolating Quill, Evolved Huoka cards, that you can replace instead if you don't specifically have that one. Now, the next one I want to talk about, I love this guy, Yamawaro, because he specifically is all about dealing high damage, high physical damage to the enemy, and then having his piercing effect take place. The piercing effect basically means that the excess damage dealt to the Shikigami by a card with piercing will be transferred to the player. So a lot of people will just kind of set up weak opponents, you know, weak health opponents and stuff to kind of just protect their life points for a round. He is a great card to just smash through them, dealing a whole bunch of damage and then transferring that damage to the enemy's health points. It basically makes it really difficult for the enemy to defend their life points, as well as he's a great card to power up some of your other Shikigami that you have on your team. Now, the last one I want to talk about is Yoto Hime. Yoto Hime is just a really good, straightforward, offensive Shikigami. She has a lot of combat cards. A lot. And if you're going to add her onto your team, make sure you have plenty of combat cards on your within your deck for her. In fact, I'm actually going to go ahead and take one of these out and replace it with Fighting Impulse, because you want to have as many combat cards for her as possible because of her overall ability. When Yotohime deals damage to the opponent player, her combat cards gain fast during this turn, basically making her just a powerhouse in damage. And it's kind of weird, like her art, I don't know what's going on, this is like a bug or something. I've never seen that before. But I've dealt a lot of damage to the enemy player. Like, if you're able to go through and you're able to clear the field using Huoka's abilities and then drop Yotohime afterwards, she can just deal so much damage to the enemy players. And so there you guys go. That's kind of my build for this basic aggro deck. There are, however, one or two decks that I've kind of come across that are kind of counters to that. Specifically, the Vampira deck. The Vampira deck is one that's focused on keeping your health up and life stealing from your enemies. That one's really difficult for an aggro deck to take down because the whole purpose of your aggro deck is to deal as much damage to your opponent as fast as possible, and they can counter that by constantly killing themselves up. So do keep that in mind. However, besides that, I have had a lot of success with this deck so far. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into a ranked match and show you guys how I play this deck. Okay, so it looks like we're going up against someone that has one of the more basic decks in the game. And for some reason, Yotohime is still checkered out. I don't know what's going on, but there's some kind of weird bug with the next update. So let's go ahead and replace a couple of these. We've already got a Phoenix Flame. Ah, man. I hate it when you start off with, like, no cards that you can use. We literally have, like, nothing except for the Yotohime card. Okay, let's grab this one. Now, we're first. I'm not actually going to do anything. I'm just going to go ahead and end my turn. I don't want to jump in and, like, have any of my characters attack right now, because I want to make sure that a lot of them keep their healths up so they can use their full attack against the enemies. So, okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's go ahead. We'll do Huoka. We're going to drop this down. Now, I was talking about how when you do this and you deal damage, she does consistent damage to the enemy. So we just got off 2 attacks right there. And then we can go ahead and use the Foresight Slash. And she will kill them. And I won't take any damage. And we basically took out one of their Shikigami for the next 3 turns. Didn't lose any Shikigami on our side, but we did have to end up using 2 cards in order to do it. So you have to think of the trade-offs that come from it. But honestly, knocking out a Shikigami make a world of difference. Because if they could knock out, like, one of our Shikigami, we're kind of screwed with a lot of the things that we can do. So, like, we have no cards that we can do right now. Let's go ahead. Am I going to live if I do this? I will not live. If I attack with Hakuro, I'll deal 2 extra damage. Let's do that. 2 damage. And end my turn. Okay. So we've gotten 2 of their Shikigami taken down. And we've already caused 6 points of damage. Now, I do recommend, like, this deck that I'm playing is definitely a deck specifically built for beginners. It's a really good deck to jump into and start ranking up as fast as possible. But you may come across problems with players that have some really, really intense strategies. Specifically strategies meant to survive for a long period of time. Actually, I do not want to do that. I don't know why I thought I was going to do that. I really don't. Let's do this. We're going to attack. Get our shields. We're going to survive. Kill the Shikigami. And we're going to draw a card. And I'm going to go ahead and have him attack. He's got more life points. There we go. 9 points of damage. So far, we're doing pretty good. Now, one of my favorite combos to use in this deck has got to be the Zanshin card. This card is so good. So much fun to use. And they're going to take him out. At least they didn't take down Yotohime. This card gains fast. They're going to attack. 5 points of damage. Okay. Let's see. What do I want to do? Let's go ahead and do Yotohime. We have fast on this one. Is this going to save us? It's not going to save us. So what I'm going to do, this is a little bit risky, but I'm going to go ahead and drop this down. I'm going to drop that down. Deal 2 damage. I'm going to do this again. Deal 7 damage. And then do this one more time. So we just did a crazy amount of damage to the opponent. We just dropped them by like, what, 13 life or something like that? And that's what this whole deck is all about, is just focusing solely on their life points and dealing as much damage as you possibly can. Now we got Hakuro back, which is going to be so good. Let's go ahead and pump her up. Level 2. We're going to go and use the form card. Now if I can get some of her other cards, I can make her crazy overpowered. Actually, I think I could probably... I was going to say I might have been able to win that round. I don't think so. But I can deal some serious damage. I mean, I only have to deal 7 more points of damage to take him out. Deal 1 damage. Oh, goodbye, Yotohime. And summon a Frost Core to the combat zone. Extra level up available this turn. Ooh, nice. We got the Ascension card. Go ahead and ascend her then. When Huka plays a spell card, luck 4, add a Phoenix Flame to your hand. So, I've never been lucky with this card. I'm not a big fan of like the luck decks, even though they're very, very popular. I'm going to go ahead and do... Let's just try it out. Maybe I'll get lucky. And nope. Alright, we'll end my turn. I never get lucky. Now, I do want to preface this too. There is one other weakness when it comes to this deck and this strategy, is because you're being so offensive and you're trying to do as much damage as possible, you're going to find that you're going to run out of cards pretty quick. So do keep that in mind. We've got this one. Let's see. Game +3 until after the attack. And let's do this. Drop that down. So, if they attack, no matter who attacks, they're going to end up dying, which should give me the opportunity then to... So basically, I've won this match. I don't think there's anything else that they can really do at this point, because now I can just go ahead and attack, and I'm going to go ahead and win. There you guys go. Just a brief kind of example of how this deck works out. In fact, why don't we just use Swaying Blaze anyway? Swaying Blaze just is awesome. It does a ridiculous amount of damage. It has piercing, and basically, it's a really like top tier card. Again, you don't need it in this deck. You can replace it with other cards. There you guys go. That's my basic aggro deck for anyone that's interested in trying it out. And we actually just gained a rank from doing that, so that's pretty cool. So we are at tier 5 now, and we've unlocked some stuff. So guys, thanks so much for watching. My name's Koolio, and again, if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more ONMYOJI card game videos coming soon. Well, friends, I'll see you next time.